Onyx 1-2 Mike Oscar, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Jeffrey J.J. Madison, welcome back to the Calm Cockpit. Woohoo!
Yay!
This is now season 2. You were on season 2, episode 2, and now this is a bonus episode to that. We keep bringing you back to the Calm Cockpit because you have so much to offer. For listeners who might be dropping in just to this episode, just cold, JJ is a Harvard-educated instructor, mentor, airline pilot, aviation advocate, and he's an author. What else does he do? But more than anything, why he's here today is because he is a pilot who has pulled off something extraordinary. You returned to the airlines after a 14-year hiatus, and you returned at the age of 60.
I did.
Wow.
I did.
You are here in this bonus episode today because you had more that you wanted to share with our audience and really like those practical tips that you wanted to give to our pilot friends about how you did what you did and what they themselves can do to achieve this level of physical, mental, emotional well-being that you have. Because you're not only doing the pilot thing, you actually have a really well-rounded, holistic life. And I think that that's rare. Finding a high performer who hasn't let all those other things in their life sort of drop by the wayside. So bravissimo for that.
Thank you.
Let's start with functional fitness. Talk to me about this functional fitness you talk about and how you do that with your flying life. You're now flying on a schedule that's probably a little bit nuts. How do you do it?
This last month has definitely been crazy. Thanks for putting me back on the show. I really appreciate it. I love the show. I love the concept and I love your audience. And I also love being fit because I think for me, being fit makes me a better pilot. And it all starts with the functional medicine concept, where the idea is not to be trained for something like a marathon or climbing Mount Everest, but really to training for life, to be able to handle whatever life throws at me. And that's the concept behind functional fitness. And I remember one of the things that I used to do in my everyday life I would train 3 days on, and then I may take a day off, and then train 3 days on, and then take a day off. Sometimes it's hard to do that when you're flying. And so what I found myself doing was trying to adhere to that schedule and getting a little thrown off. But then I heard an airline captain say, kind of in passing, and it was like a moment for me. He said, I don't take any days off. When I'm on the road, every day is a training day, because I don't know what my schedule is going to necessarily be. And so I treat every day I'm on the road as a training day. When I'm not flying, then I might take a day off, but I treat every day as a training day. And that really made it a huge difference and allowed me to kind of stay centered and stay on my fitness regimen.
It's funny because I used to do that too. And in fact, when I was flying regularly and I was in a hotel, it was a great excuse for me to exercise. The trouble that I have is since switching to corporate and we don't fly quite as much, now it's like at home has been my breaks, but now I have arguably too many breaks. I say as a positive and a negative at the same time, but it's like now that I'm not staying in a hotel room all the time, I'm just not mentally in that place to exercise. And that's been a problem for me.
My wife likes to say, it's a day that ends in day. Therefore, we're going to work out. So that's what I can offer. If it's a day that ends in day, it's a workout day.
I have definitely had to let go of hardcore scheduling because before I got into aviation, not that I'm doing what you guys are doing, but even in GA and as a student pilot, I'm beholden to the weather so much of the time. So last week I had 5 things scheduled and none of them happened. It can really mess with your schedule. And before aviation, I had a very strict working out schedule because my life was predictable. I taught on certain days and now I'm like, I never know. And even my husband knows. He's like, maybe that happens. Maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe she's got the afternoon off. Maybe not. So I love your philosophy, JJ. It just takes the decision making out of it. It's no longer a negotiable. You've made the decision ahead of time. It's like putting out your workout clothes the night before. You put them on when you wake up in the morning, you know it's going to happen. And then you can probably, I'm guessing from there, you titrate your workouts according to your energy or what you need, because you can't just be all on all the time, hit the gym super hard or you'll burn out. So how do you handle that intensity and the need for rest days? And how do you calibrate your workouts then?
You made a great point and also offered a great question. question. And I'm going to offer hopefully some other advice that might be applicable to John. If it's a day that ends in day, doesn't work. Yeah, I do base it on energy, but I also try and remember what my trainer has me do on particular times of the week so that I at least try and conform to that. Every Hilton hotel now has a Peloton. Whatever Hilton family hotel exists, they all now have Peloton. So I used to just jump on a Peloton for 30 minutes. But then Dr. Vonda Wright came into my wife's algorithm and we watched a video. And Dr. Vonda Wright, she's more female focused for middle age, and it's applicable for all genders from middle age on, and even if you're younger. And the idea is to lift weights. If you only have 30 minutes or you only have 15 minutes, don't do cardio. Go lift some weights, and don't go lift some, as she calls them, pink weights, like the light 5 or 8 pounds. Go out there and lift 20, 25, 30-pound weights, whether you're doing presses, curls, or whether you're doing squats, like dumbbell squats, because muscle is the catalyst for energy. The more muscle a person has, the higher your metabolism, the more energy you are, the healthier your immune system. And so that was another moment, right? So if I only have 15 minutes, and maybe, John, this will be helpful. And if you have weights or anything at your house, just do some kind of weight workout just to get my muscles going. Because I can do the cardio, honestly, I can do that by walking quickly but elegantly through the airport, because in a pilot's uniform, you never want to look like you're rushing. That sends a bad signal to the passengers. In fact, it's in our FOM. It says, "Thou shalt not run" in pilot uniform. But I can walk quickly, and look like that's just how my walk, and get some cardio that way. Bottom line, if I only have 15 minutes, then I'm on weights.
I love it. Weight training is everything, right? Especially as we get older, I've had to lift weights just to maintain my weight, not even my muscle mass, not even to necessarily gain strength. It's also great for bone health, all of the other measures that you mentioned. So talk to me about that, the airline pilot body. I think you got some things to say there.
Right. So the goal is to avoid the airline pilot body.
Oh boy.
Because the airline pilot body is big gut, no butt, skinny arms and legs. Okay. That's the traditional airline pilot body, and we want to avoid that. The new airline pilot body it's the stereotype of looking trim and fit in the uniform. So I'm hoping that everybody has that stereotype, and that, more and more airline pilots will get on board with that.
We were talking with Lachey from Mile High Health Club, and we were talking to her about just how hard it is unless you literally, and I know you kind of do this, unless you literally pack your own food. It's tough because there's not a lot of time to go find things to eat. And then even when you're not working, if you're in a hotel, you don't have the ability to go out and find things away from the hotel unless you're going to Uber or order out or something like that. So you're kind of bound within what you can walk to. And those options are Pizza Hut, McDonald's. Like that's a tough thing. And so Lachey actually was talking to us about how she had created a guide for a lot of the major airports to say, here are the restaurants that can offer you a healthy meal, and here's what you can order based on what kind of nutritional diet you're trying to get to. So that actually really does help. And hopefully some of the airline pilots, if you're listening, you've checked that out and maybe use that as a way to kind of help prepare what to eat when you come into the terminal based on where you're actually going to be located gate-wise. So it's an option.
That is so cool. You mentioned that before, and I forgot to pick it up, so I got to get that guide. I 1000% endorse that. But I also have a couple of hacks if you're minus the guide or you can't get there, right? A great example is at Charlotte. If I got to go from the B gates to the E gates and I got to go fast, usually there's like some kind of burger shack that has grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and the line is 1,000 people long. So I can't get to that in time because I have 15 minutes to order, eat, and then get to the gate. But next to it is a Popeyes, and there's like 3 people in line. It's great. So I'll order the Popeyes with the coleslaw as the side, and then I'll just eat the chicken without the skin. With the coleslaw, that's my green. And that's the biggest thing that people have trouble getting are good greens. So I'm not saying coleslaw from Popeyes is a good green, but it's green. So it's a start. Another hack at the airport or at the hotels, almost every hotel now has buffalo chicken wings, right? With buffalo sauce or barbecue sauce or something like that. So I'll order the chicken wings with dry with the sauce on the side in case I want to do a little tiny dip, but I'll just order them dry and they're flavorful without being slathered in all of the barbecue sauce and stuff like that. So I'll do that and then I'll order a salad on the side with that. My goal is to avoid the starches. I won't eat the croutons if there's anything associated with that. So that's the hack that I have is that I'll order the buffalo chicken wings dry without the sauce. They're just as tasty. And then I'll order Popeyes if I got to go to Popeyes, I just eat it without the skin.
That saves you a lot of that artery clogging and just extra calories that just, especially after middle age, just goes right to the belly and the gut. Saves you all of that. And you still get the yummy yum. Oh, those are great hacks. I recently have been doing a thing too of just changing my mind. And like I hear you saying it, the food is still as tasty because I think that's a mental thing. Be like, well, if I go to Popeyes, of course I'm going to eat the skin. But if you decide ahead of time, the chicken is delicious. But if you decide ahead of time, it's going to be delicious. It's going to be good. I've even gotten myself to eat salads sometimes without the dressing, which seems crazy. But I'm like, at certain times, if I'm trying to lean out, I cannot afford 300 calories of dressing. I would much rather have some chocolate later.
There you go.
But it's a matter of mental adjustment, right?
That's right. That's right. When I first met my wife, she would have dressing and I'd go, no, I'll take my salad naked, please.
Yes.
So that's what I call a naked salad. But you're not kidding about all those calories. And there's a hack or a meme that's the condiments are the killers. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what really gets people because of all of the hidden sugars and additives that go into somebody's meal. Mustard is wonderful. Mustard is mustard seed and like two other things like vinegar and water. So I'll have mustard every day, all day, because if you look at the ingredients of mustard, it's like three ingredients.
Mm-hmm. It's like vinegar, mustard seed, and maybe a sprinkling of salt.
Yeah.
Ron, our mission is going to be to have you eat a naked salad by the end of season 2 and enjoy it.
Right. Oh, you got to be into it. And if you're not going to do naked, learn how to make your own dressings. That's my wife makes her own dressings. So when we're at home, it's really great. If you're not at home and you can't do it, then just ask them to put the salad dressing on the side and then just drizzle it because the amount that you put on is definitely going to be way less than the amount that the restaurant's going to put on.
Absolutely. One of my trainers says, if you're logging a restaurant meal, I use MyFitnessPal to, track my macros. She said, just add 4 tablespoons of olive oil to every meal because between the butter and the oil that they add to everything they give you, you're getting like 4 additional tablespoons. That's like a whole meal of calories for a middle-aged woman like me. I'm like, I cannot afford that. So don't be afraid to ask for the stuff on the side. JJ, how do you keep all of this from feeling like a part-time job and instead feeling like training and living like an athlete is a lifestyle? Is it a mental shift?
Yeah.
A lot of people go, oh, it's too much work. It's too hard. It's just it's too overwhelming. How do you do it?
So, yeah, that's a great question. So it's either Dr. Von der Wright or it's Dr. Peter Attia. One of them said this, train like advanced age is a sport, train like an athlete. So that's the mental shift that I made is that, the rest of my life is the sport that I'm playing and I want to be good at that.
So can you tell me a little bit more about then how rest plays in? Because we're talking a lot about work, things to do. How do you handle the rest? I know you're the slam click. Is that
slam
it?
clicker. I'm a
slam
clicker. Slam, click, slam the door and click the lock shut. So in the same way that I treat life as a sport, I treat my profession as a sport. If you think about professional athletes, what do? They travel to a venue, then they work out, then they rest, then they play their game, and then they rest and they go travel. And so I like to get as close to 8 hours of sleep as I can. The goal is the way to help kind of wind down is something called sleep hygiene. And that's where all the screens go off 30 minutes prior, do my best to turn the TV off 30 minutes prior, and don't look at anything that's, emitting that kind of light. And so it helps calm the mind down, get me really understanding, okay, we're going to sleep now, and now we're asleep. So sleep hygiene is one thing that I practice, and it's hard at first, but it becomes easier over time to do.
So
I struggle with that.
Everybody does. I mean, the devices are everywhere and they're so tempting. They're right there.
Well, the worst part about it is like in my house, I can control it because we do not have a television in our home, in our bedroom.
Right.
And so there is no TV lying in bed getting tempted that way. But a hotel is by definition a room with a bed and a television.
Everything in a hotel room is oriented around the television. If you look at the design of it, you can't help but be looking at it.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
right. So, right. Even hotels where they have like a mini suite where there is a couch and maybe a settee and then a little table for you, the television is still over by across from the bed.
Like while you're resting, you want to watch all this stuff, don't you?
Right.
Or in some cases, there's 2 TVs.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
There might even be one in the bathroom. They follow you everywhere.
Oh my goodness. Right. At some resorts I've been to, they're in the mirror.
It's like, seriously? Can we
Yeah.
please step away?
Yeah,
I think you're
yeah.
right, though. At first, it's really hard it's almost like we have to force ourselves to step away from it. But once you get into that addictive habit of having that quiet darkness 30 minutes before bedtime, for me, I started to crave it then. But
Yeah.
it takes a little time. It's rough at first
Yeah.
it's like a detox from
Yeah.
all the
And
electronics.
I like what you said about it. You become addicted to it. I mean, screens are addictive.
Mm-hmm.
They're designed to be that way, not the screens themselves, but the content is designed to be addictive. And studies have shown it's not possible really for humans to just quit an addiction. You have to sort of replace it with something else that's better. And it's hard at first, but after 21 or 30 days or so of doing it, it becomes easier and much easier. And then even more easy after that, and to the point where it becomes a habit, which then becomes your addiction where you're craving sleep hygiene. So I encourage pilots to do that. Between the fitness and the sleep hygiene, it makes a huge difference for me. And I see it in other pilots, not at the beginning of the trip, but at the end of the day. That's where it makes the big difference.
I love that you get to the hotel, you do a workout, you eat, and then you sort of begin to step down all the stimuli. That's like what we would do for a toddler. We do. I always tell people, like, we treat kids and toddlers this way naturally, but then we treat ourselves so differently. But physiologically, we have the same need to down regulate after all that activity. Love it.
I keep telling you that pilots are just big kids.
That's right. That's right.
Bunch of big babies. Hey, so what would you say to say someone's listening though, but like they're younger, they don't have a lot of money, they can't even afford a gym, they can't afford a personal trainer yet. There's so much junk on the internet. Like, where do they go to start to learn how to lift weights and to do all of that sensibly? Any advice for them?
I think this is such a great time for a young pilot who's broke but wants to stay fit, because exactly what you said, there's so much stuff on the internet right now, but there are others where there are a lot of great training programs, apps you can put on your phone, and or personal trainers who are on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, who will train you in body weight stuff that you can do like in a hotel room. Stuff like that.
I like to use an app called Daily Burn. And that's really cool because they've got a ton of different exercise programs, but you can also just search for certain programs or certain episodes, if you want to call them that, based on what you have. So you can put in there, I have no exercise equipment at all, and it'll generate like, here's all the things you can do. Or if you've got just like a medicine ball or a dumbbell or something like that, it'll give you daily exercise for what you can do in that moment. So I've actually really had good success with that because you can do it straight from a hotel room with nothing.
That is kick-ass. Pardon my French, that is a great concept. And what I like about that is, just like you said, it gives you options based upon what's around you. Mm-hmm. The other thing I just want to add is make sure that whatever you have has a stretching component, a warm-up component, and a cool-down component, a stretching component, right? Especially, this is more so for middle-aged pilots than it is for young pilots. Getting in shape, one of the big things is staying uninjured, right? Because an injury at middle and older age can have a huge setback toward your fitness journey goals, because it's harder to get back in shape than it is to stay in shape.
That's true. It's very true.
I'm going to link in the show notes as well the work of Pavel Tsatsouline. Are you familiar with him, JJ? Oh, boy.
Not yet.
Okay, Pavel. He's pretty much the person who brought kettlebells here to the U.S. He used to train the Russian military forces. He is an encyclopedia of all things training, but without even necessarily needing equipment. He has whole books that are just all about teaching you, just from the book, how to do proper push-ups, squats, lunges, just body weight. And you see the iron bodies that these guys have, but with flexibility and with the mental training, he's pretty much considered sort of like the godfather of some of the American fitness strong movement. It's called Strong First. I'll link it because they're great books, and my husband used a lot of them working with the youths in his classrooms, but teaching them how to do proper push-ups, chin up, where these kids don't have a lot. He worked with underserved youth, so they didn't have equipment. So he would teach them how to do stuff using these methods. One book and the discipline to use it, you can really have tremendous fitness outcomes. I think you're really sharing a lot of really practical, clear strategies for people. Really appreciate it.
I thank you for saying that. I thought of one thing. There's so many studies out there that news media talk about coffee is good for you, blah, 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 blah. But there's a difference between coffee and coffee, right? There's black coffee, which is what I believe the studies are talking about. And then there's candy coffee, which is what a lot of people think is coffee. And what I mean by candy coffee is all of those delicious things that every coffee chain, local, national, or international, you can imagine is offering seasonally or daily. But those things are so chock full of calories and sugars. Anything that's really not black coffee, that where you might add a little bit of your own, possibly some cream and possibly, or some milk and possibly a little bit of sugar or possibly honey, that's not really coffee, and that's really not good for you in the long run.
So you like your coffee like you like your salad. Naked.
Black. Naked. That's right. Oh my God.
I do like a little bit of cream. Can't I have my cream in my coffee from
Sure, but
happy cows with no antibiotics and they're eating grass? Just a little.
Absolutely. If
little
you're
bit
adding
of-
it, if you're
I'm
adding it, then you're in control of it, right? And you know where it's coming from, and you know it's in it,
Yeah.
right? There's that old saying, you are what you eat. But there's a newer, better saying, you are what you ate. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah. And there's got to be something there too about you are like the container that your food comes in too, because now what we're learning about plastics and microplastics in the brain and stuff, I'm like, whoo.
The microplastic issue, that it's real. There's nothing we can do about it in the sense that it's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's science has proven that microplastics exist in all forms of bodies of water over the globe. And that when we ingest it, if your body doesn't know what to do with it, it tends to store things like microplastics and toxins that it doesn't know what to deal with in fat.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to overcome microplastics is to sweat, because the way your body excretes toxins is sweating. Yeah. And ideally, the hope is that it's also going to excrete microplastics the same way. So the best defense, aside from not drinking anything that's in a plastic bottle, good luck with that, is to sweat.
Do you use a sauna ever, infrared sauna or other kinds?
Oh, yes. Yes. Whenever possible. They're not often on the road, but there are a couple, Burlington, Vermont, I can think of, and some others. But yeah, I really highly recommend saunas. If you can sauna on the road, take advantage of it. Yeah, one of the other big things is keep your sense of humor, right? Because flying is a lot of fun. You see gorgeous things when you're aloft, but on the ground, flying is incredibly stressful in terms of some of the people you have to deal with. And I'm not like denigrating them. I'm just saying, bless their hearts. Passengers are doing the best they can. Gate agents, rampers, they're all doing the best they can, but everybody is suffering on some level from lack of sleep, some form of malnutrition, poor exercise, and stress. So
yes.
The goal is to maintain your dignity, sanity, and health. Develop a great sense of humor around it.
That is really great advice. JJ, you are such a role model. I think you need to do more of this work. No, I'm serious. I think you need to do like more mentorship work for younger pilots. And I know you do, but just do more of it. This is all but you've really, walked the walk and talked the talk. Is that what they say? But it's not easy work that you're doing, but you do it with such a sense of joy and purpose. I think it's really refreshing and needed. I think really gives a nice guide map for perhaps a 20, 30, 40, 50, or maybe even 70-year-old out there who would like a piece of that JJ magic in their lives. Oh my gosh, treasure trove of information. Have we run the gamut?
I think so.
Thank you so much, JJ, for coming back on the bonus episode. You've given so much for pilots to think about, so much practical wisdom, and we always encourage people to drop us an email, calmcockpit@gmail.com. Especially if you have any comments for JJ, send them to us. We'll get them over to him. Questions, comments, concerns, send us that way. JJ, we can't thank you enough for coming on this bonus episode. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
It's my pleasure. I'm just so excited that you two exist to help pilots stay well and stay centered. Right.
Thank you for your support. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Boston Tower 1 departure is Airbus 321. Traffic holding crossing runway 33 left, 3 clear.